Hussein took all his statues down. He had them everywhere. That doesn't erase history. They all know who the guy is. Taking down a statue, history is history. There is history that I have lived on Earth. I don't have a damn statue anywhere. The history of me doesn't go away because there's no statue. That doesn't even, it's not even in the same universe. A statue has nothing to do with history. A statue is a tribute.
Yep, and there's got to be something that I was just going to say. There's got to be a reason why the statue was created.
It's a participation trophy. That's exactly what you can call it what it is. It's the same reason you would hand a trophy to a baseball player and a team that came in third place or fourth place. It's a participation trophy. You lost.
They had to be excellent at something.
Losing. They were excellent at losing.
You're not giving them enough credit. I mean, I don't think. I don't know. I'm not for tearing down statues.
Okay.
I don't care what people. I mean, there's a lot of statues I don't like. You know what I mean? There's one with a guy with his penis out. I don't want my daughter to see. You know what I mean? But,
well, I'm just simply saying, you start a war and you get an actual trophy after losing a war on the soil of the victor. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. That is clearly a participation trophy. You tried. As you say, maybe you contributed something. We're giving you a trophy because of your efforts. What did you accomplish? Nothing. But you tried. That's a participation trophy.
I'm sure on the base of the statue, there's something. There's something said there.
Right.
Something monumental. Oh, right?
Listen, you drive a hard bargain. It's a pleasure. I got to move it on, but I like your finagling. If I ever need a lawyer, I'm going to appoint you. You're good.
I'm an Italian lawyer.
Oh, really?
Right,
you win. All right, conservative. Appreciate you coming in. Okay. All right. Moving the program on, though. I lied. A losing battle. I don't quite get that statement there, Mike Harris. It says participation trophy. Well, yeah, I don't think there's any other way to describe a statue of a Confederate. That is a participation trophy. Whether you agree with what they were trying to do or not, they didn't win. It's a participation trophy. You're honoring somebody that lost. That's what you normally do with a participation trophy. You give them credit for their efforts. They didn't win nothing. They lost. Looking in the comments, participation trophy, bunch of bullshit. Yeah, but the folks on the Confederate side don't like it called that. It's fun to point out other folks as recipients of participation trophies, but when somebody points and says, well, what about the thing you got over? Well, don't call that. We don't want ours to be called that, but it really is. It fits the actual narrative of exactly what a participation trophy is. The Confederate statues fit that narrative to a T. Looking in the comments, race is all about RACC. I don't quite get that. So we're going back to the actual topic, though. How did President Biden perform last night? Cognitive abilities, did he deliver his message? You may not agree with the message. What issues you have with what he stated? Because the Republican Party didn't stand on any of that shit. Just about everything he said, they remained seated. Going straight to the box, we'll go straight to Keisha. Certainly a friend of the program. Good to have you on, Keisha. It's their history, and I believe they stay up. Okay, well, if you lose the Cubs from Chicago, the Cubs lost year after year after year. Give them a trophy because the Cubs is the history of Chicago. Even though they're coming in last place, they're the history of Chicago. Give them a trophy. That's a participation trophy, sir. Keisha, good afternoon.
Hey, handsome liberal, how are you?
I'm doing good. Did you catch the State of the Union last night?
I watched every last bit of it.
Let me say this.
Enjoyed it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say before you go into it, if there is one thing I'm going to actually give Trump credit for, as opposed to Biden, I know we're talking about Biden right now, is that I think since Trump has been, ran for president from 2015 till now, he has brought more folks to the political theater. More folks are talking politics now than ever before. because some folks love him dearly and some folks despise him like hell. But Trump is responsible because nobody really has a lot of love for Biden, even though some believe he performed well last night. But Trump has really brought a hell of a lot of people to politics. So, Takesha, how did he do?
First of all, they talking about politics, but they don't know politics. Let me just make that clear. Anyway, like I'm saying, I think Biden did an awesome job. And for somebody who has dementia, because my aunt has dementia, and I could have just taken her to the bathroom, and time she sit down, she'll say, I got to use the bathroom after she's just come out. So that's when you know your cognitive abilities are declining. And the fact that he had to pause for ridiculous hecklers and Marjorie Taylor Greene and still stayed on subject lets you know that dementia talk need to stop, and it needs to stop now. That's what happens when you have TikTok doctors that are around here diagnosing people, and they talking about a teleprompter. I didn't see a teleprompter, but if I did see one, all presidents use teleprompters. Trump used them at his rallies, and guess what? He's still messing up with a teleprompter. He had 2 rallies where he went totally blank reading off of a teleprompter. So what are they gonna say about that?
Well, Trump gets a pass. We love Trump, so Trump gets.
We're not giving him no pass. We're not giving him a pass, no sir.
Yeah. Well,
No pass today.
I'm dying to relook at the clips because folks in the audience are saying there was a teleprompter.
I did not see a teleprompter when they took that camera around their room. What I did notice was Biden was looking dead at the people that he was actually talking to. When he talked to the Supreme Court,
Zeus.
he looked dead at them. When he talked to the other people that he had to stand up, he looked at them.
Yeah.
So come on now with the teleprompter foolishness. Like I said, all presidents have teleprompters, so that is nothing new to even talk about. But I think he did an excellent job.
So
And what I did see was Mike Johnson when the camera went on him clapping up under the table. I saw him clapping for Biden up under that table. I did see that.
Yeah, and I went real quick before we get into that. Zeus, thank you for that hat and mustache. I saw that times two. I agree with you that the speaker clearly was agreeing with a lot of aspects of Biden's speech.
Agreeing with what Biden was saying.
Yeah.
And I said he ain't gonna have no job next week because they gonna get rid of him. But I also loved when they tried to act like when Biden was talking about the border and what was all in the package, and they called Senator Langford saying that's true. On camera. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
That's true.
Well, they pissed him off because he worked hard on that border bill, and Trump just
because he know that everything Biden said is in there was true, and that's why he sat up there and said that's true.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
I know next week.
But let me ask you this, because we run the program simultaneously on YouTube, and someone on YouTube is responding about our judgment of Biden. Have we lowered the bar too low on Biden? Because Craig says, let's all just be happy Pop didn't fall down a flight of stairs after the speech. Have we lowered the bar on Biden like that?
Let's all be happy that when Trump picked up a glass, he didn't use 2 hands to hold it steady. Let's all be glad that he didn't tiptoe down a ramp when he was leaving off a stage. Let's not try to act like Trump riding bicycles and running around the block every day with his hamburger in his hand and his chips on one side and a Big Mac on the other. Stop trying to act like Trump's so much in better shape than Biden, because he's not. He wears a diaper. At least Biden doesn't have to wear a diaper.
Do you believe that's true? I've heard the rumors.
I believe he wears a diaper. They say he smells. The people that have been around him say he smells.
Yeah, I've heard.
So stop trying to act like this man is perfect and he don't have any flaws, because all of us have flaws. And stop trying to act like he don't. Stop always hoppering and dogging out Biden when y'all got a candidate that, like I said, then got Nancy Pelosi, and Nikki Haley messed up.
Yeah.
Mixed up. You
Zeus.
don't even know the difference. You swear you running against Obama. You say you ran against Obama. Come on. Both of them are old. Both of them have memory lapses. And just cut it out. Stop trying to put it all on Biden.
Well, and see, I'm still seeing it in the comments, though. Purnell says at least he knows what day it is, talking about Trump. Now,
How does he know? How you know he know what day it is?
yeah.
Do he get up there and say Happy Wednesday? Happy Do he get every Monday at his rallies?
I will.
How you know he know what day it is?
I will tell you this. I went to a Trump rally about 4 months ago, and the next day he was in Sioux City, Iowa, and he did give the wrong city. He actually got up there and
Like I said, they gonna act like they don't know nothing about that Handsome. So that's why I say I'm not even finna argue with these people because it don't matter what you say about Trump, they not gonna believe it. They trust him more than his wife can. She couldn't even trust him to be faithful while she recovered from having a baby. So you know I'm not standing Donald Trump. Like I said, it's about Biden. I think he did a wonderful job. I think what he said to the Supreme Court was necessary because they have messed up a lot of things that are going on with, reproductive rights and stuff. Just like Alabama with the IVF situation.
Yeah, I gotta say.
They tried to clean it up before they let little Molly Maid sit in the kitchen and give that dumb response that she gave for the Republic. You sitting in your kitchen after you done got married to a man that used to play for the NFL trying to tell people you can't even take your children to soccer practice when half of us can't even buy our children a soccer ball. Baby, go have several seats, desperate housewife.
All right, Takesha. Good to have you back. Good to have you back, Takesha.
Your people be making me mad. I have to stay away because I ain't trying to lose my account, baby.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure having you back.
Thank you,
Hey, you're welcome. Going back to the box, and listen, folks, we go left of Bernie Sanders to having dinner with QAnon. All of our callers are not liberal. All of our callers are not MAGA. We get folks, libertarians, all of them. I understand, though, when we have a caller that has a passionate viewpoint, the numbers play all sorts of games. You can tell when a person is hardcore MAGA or progressive because folks that are on the opposition side of the field, I don't want to hear no more. You see it all in the comments. But that's the whole purpose of this. Civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle where everybody gets to speak without being blocked, banned, or censored because too many of us have come to a place where we only like hearing what we agree with. That doesn't happen here. There's plenty of places you can go on social media where they do that all day. We don't do that here. So if that's what you prefer, unfortunately, that will not be delivered here. This is an uncensored program, and we take comments from both sides, or better yet, all sides of the aisle. Real quick on YouTube, smash that like button. Not a lot of folks on YouTube participating in that aspect. Going to the box, onto our next caller, we will take up Attacking the Ignorance. Good afternoon. Welcome.
It's been a long time. I haven't been up for a while.
Well, I'm glad to have you back on. Did you catch the speech last night?
Oh, yeah, I did. Let me make a couple comments since somebody made a comment about Joe Biden doesn't know what day it was. Hey, Hanson, which president said there were airplanes in the Revolutionary War?
That would be Trump, 100 years before the plane was invented.
Okay. Which president was reading off a piece of paper and said, Yosemite, when it was really Yosemite?
I get it. That was Trump as well.
Yeah, and then which president said Thailand instead of Thailand?
I didn't hear that. Scott Gray with the teddy. Thank you. I didn't hear that. Did he? He said.
Well, yeah, he said that, buddy.
He said. Wait. Let me make sure I get it clear. Thailand, like your thigh on your leg.
Thailand, and then he said it again. Thailand, yes.
Oh wow, I didn't hear that one.
Anyway, Joe Biden did a hell of a job. He again reeled them in with saying, "Oh, you want a border bill? Okay, cool. Let's pass this one." And they fell for it again, just like with, "Oh, you don't want to do away with Social Security or whatever it was the last time he did that." He reeled them in.
I will say this, speaking of what you're talking about, I will say this, when they started booing him and trying to distract him and he responded to what they were doing, like you're talking about, like suggesting, I know you're glad that money's coming in, that shows his cognitive abilities are there. He's not reading that off a teleprompter. He's addressing what is happening at the moment.
He's addressing what's there at the moment, and there is a teleprompter. And Takesha's a friend of mine. We hang in the same areas and stuff like that. So, yeah, there was a teleprompter. I looked just to make sure.
Okay.
Because we on the left, try not to put forth false information. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there was a teleprompter. He had those.
You know something? I will say this. I don't know anyone that could give a State of the Union address with actual numbers and figures, cover all the without a teleprompter. How could you do that? I don't.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Trump tries to say, "Oh, I don't need a teleprompter," but yeah, he has teleprompters, and he fumbles his words even with teleprompters. So the hypocrisy in those comments themselves are ridiculous, and that's where you know, oh, we don't care what Donald Trump does. We don't care if Donald Trump touches women. We don't care if Donald Trump steals from his country or state. We don't care what he does. We like this criminal. We just don't like these criminals.
Wow.
That's all it is.
Well,
And that's go ahead.
no, I think the border is what a lot of folks are going for Trump for, though. They believe that Biden has let things get out of hand at the border.
Yeah, but handsome. You had Chip Roy, a Trump-loving Republican, 3.5 weeks ago now, get on the floor because Donald Trump says all that Joe Biden has to do is write an executive order and it closes the border. Yeah. Chip Roy called him out and says, "No, you cannot, Mr. Ex-President. You had border crisis. You had millions of border crossings also in 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. Trump was in rallies or on TV saying there's a border crisis. You can't have it both ways. You can't say there's a border crisis out of your mouth and then say there is no border crisis. Look what I have done."
Yeah, and I do recall that happening because Geraldo Rivera, who's on News Nation now, but he was on Fox News at the time, when Trump was saying that there were Middle Eastern men in the crowd and things like that, Trump was actually president, and Geraldo went down there and embedded himself in the migrants coming to America. They were calling them caravans at the time, and he said that too, similar to what you're saying. Like, there's no, I mean, so I get your point. I mean, Trump.
But think about this. The people at the Eagle Pass, you had one guy, you've had multiple people go down, videotape it. One guy videotaped the opening at Eagle Pass where the fence is at, and he traveled down a half a mile of that same road where there's multiple openings. The gates are open. There's no barbed wire. There's no military standing there. And then when he gets to the end of the fence, guess what happened? What's at the end of the fence? Handsome.
I saw the video. I actually seen that video. I did see that video.
And then you have people in that area when those truckers or those supporters of Trump going down there and causing chaos. You had people on TikTok videotaping saying we're more afraid of these people who come down to protest than we are worried about the people crossing the border. They felt more threatened in their own area. Yeah. And then you have a lady at that gate saying, "I want to use the park. I pay for that. I live here." Oh, well, you have to tell us who you are so we can search your background. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And see,
there's a woman at that gate.
And see, that's the problem. That happened with Sheriff Joe Arpaio in Arizona back in 2017, I think, when Trump pardoned him because he was actually about to be sentenced to prison because during the border issue in his time, he was doing the same thing, telling his deputies to randomly stop and profile brown people and make sure they had, papers to be here. And that is a problem, is that if you got a caravan that goes down to the southern border to protect the border, there's going to be a lot of American-born citizens and folks with residency getting stopped, frisked, and endangered because you can't tell the difference. You can't tell who is, so that I can certainly see people living down there. And as an over-the-road driver, I've been to Eagle Pass, Laredo, McAllen, Fort. I've been to all those cities, El Paso. It looks like a derivative of Mexico. Yet a lot of these folks are actually American citizens. So you start having all these, and I hate to say it like this, but a bunch of white boys going down there to protect the border, and they can't tell the difference. You're going to have some innocent people getting hurt.
Exactly. And then when Biden called these people out, the infrastructure, we had 100 plus Republicans deny the bill. But now you're bragging about the money that's coming to your area.
Yeah.
To fix your infrastructure. He should have called about. And then when he's saying, we got this bipartisan bill for the border, that the Border Patrol Union says this is the best bill that they've ever received that would address all the issues for right now. What I think Biden should have done is to turn around and look at Johnson and says, and you talked to Donald J. Trump about stopping this bill, didn't you? I think he should have called him out. Wow. I think because we know that he talked to him. We know that he went down to Mar-a-Lago. He himself has said that he has talked to Trump about the border. And they want to leave it open. If it is that much of a crisis, people, why do they want to leave it open for the next 8 months? Just to use as ammunition against Joe Biden. Don't you want it closed now to fix the issue? Because if Trump doesn't become president, guess who gets to close it anyway and fix it? Joe Biden does.
Yeah.
So fix it now. Don't leave it open for the next 8 months and cry about it. Oh, there's so many people coming over the border. We should fix it. You don't care. You want to give Trump this ammunition to use with Joe Biden.
Yeah, they've come out.
The 2024 election.
Yeah, they come out and admitted that. But attacking the ignorance, I do got to move it on. But yeah, folks on the right have come out and admitted that it was Trump who scrapped the bill. So I don't think what you're saying is something that I think everybody realizes that Trump is going to use wants to use the border chaos as a running, an issue to run on. Appreciate you coming on, though. Thank you very much.
One last thing.
Real quick.
You're looking good. Have you lost some weight?
I don't know, but thank you.
It just might be the same.
I've been the same, listen. Yeah, it could be. TikTok adds 10 pounds. I don't know. I've been the same size since the 90s, man. So, but I do appreciate it.
You're a good man, Handsome. I like watching your shows, and thanks for letting me up again, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Come on through anytime. All right, looking in the comments, it's not. It's the money tie of Ukrainian funding. Ironhead, I will agree to some degree. Leslie, thank you for the TikTok cap. Yeah, I don't know what's going on YouTube. My numbers on YouTube are just dismal. I don't know if it's the fact that very few people are smashing that like button or whatever the case may be, but we got my TikTok audience, over 1,000 of you folks here. In regards to the Ukrainian money, I get your point, Ironhead. That probably should not have been in the bill. But at this point, with many folks in the Republican Party admitting that Trump told them do not work with the Democrats on the bill, I don't think taking the Ukrainian funding out would make a difference. I really do not. I think they spilled the facts. They actually yelled out the quiet part out loud. Trump doesn't want us to work with you. So even if you took the Ukrainian money out, I don't think it would make a difference. Yeah! Thank you for the hat and mustache. TTA, thank you. Now, I see in the comments, Patricia says that's a lie. I'm sure you feel that way. But I guarantee you, when Biden wasn't doing shit about the border, if someone asked folks on the right, if we could get them to do everything in that bill, how would you feel about that? Folks on the right would be like, yeah, but Biden will never do that. Of course you can say that now because you know it's not going to happen. But if you knew Biden was okay with ending catch and release, giving the authorities the ability to close the border after a certain amount of folks have come in the country, like I stated, or like my last caller stated, there's enough in that bill that even Border Patrol is like it's a good bill. If you had to ask the folks on the right before that bill was passed and showed it to them and said, if Biden was willing to do this, how would you feel? They would have cheered and said, hell yeah, but he'll never do that. After he did it, oh yeah, this is wrong. This don't look right. Listen, folks, and I've said this numerous times, in regards to the Ukrainian funding that everybody's bitching and complaining about, that is solely a MAGA issue. Everyone else on the political spectrum, and I've given you the spectrum, starts out with the progressives, Democrats, moderates, libertarians, independents, Tea Party, everyone else on the spectrum traditional conservatives, Republicans, only MAGA does not want the Ukrainians funded. Only MAGA. Every other group, from Republicans all the way over to the Bernie Sanders progressives, the entire spectrum is in favor of funding the Ukrainians, believe that Russia is a threat to our allies in that region. Only MAGA has a different view of Russia. So yeah, I don't know how you can please MAGA because you really want Trump. I mean, you think Biden sucks. I get it, but that funding the Ukrainians, when they had 9 Republican candidates running for president, I'm talking the governor of North Dakota, Vivek, Chris Christie was up there. You had obviously Nikki Haley. Vivek Ramaswamy. It was about 9 of them. Tim Scott was up there at the time. The moderator asked them about funding the Ukrainian war. They all raised their hand and said they would do it. I think Vivek was a bit hesitant because he's basically Trump-like. All the rest of them, including Ron DeSantis, after a little bit of a pause, suggested that if they had to become president, they were going to go ahead and continue seeing Russia as a threat and funding the Ukrainians. MAGA is the only group in the entire political spectrum that thinks Russia is not a threat. So I'll leave it at that. But going back to the box, Tammy Green. Tammy, good afternoon. Welcome to the program, if the box lets you up.
I didn't mean to do that.
Oh, well, I do appreciate you coming up, Tammy.
Hey, though.
Hey, did you catch the speech?
I did. I absolutely, I was inspired by it, believe it or not.
You were
I really did like it.
Now, do you lean left politically, or you lean right, or independent?
I see, like you, I see both sides of it, but I do tend to lean left.
Okay.
For sure.
Did you vote for Trump in any of his prior runs, 2020 or 2016? No.
Absolutely not.
What about in 20? Absolutely.
It's funny. The last election, I'll be honest with you, I was 45 years old. I never voted in my life until that election, until 2020.
What inspired you
I
to
voted for Biden.
What inspired you at the age of 45 to suddenly get into the election?
Because I always, the way I was brought up, you don't discuss religion and you don't discuss politics. So, and it was hard for me to think that why would my vote matter? One person, why would that matter?
A lot of folks do
mine,
believe that.
A friend of mine gently suggested that if I didn't vote, he wouldn't talk to me anymore.
that can happen. So at the end of the day, you've seen we're coming to a conclusion of the Biden presidency. How do you, if you had to judge Biden, A, B, C, D, or F, like we used to get in high school, how do you think Biden has performed so far coming to the end of his first term if he gets reelected?
I mean, it's funny. I see how I don't blame him for how bad prices went up on everything. I don't blame him for the economy.
Okay.
I've done my own research, and when you dig in as far as I did, every single time a pandemic happened, every single time, everything went up. Yeah. Everything. The cost of everything went up. And then after, a couple of years, stuff started coming back down. So I don't blame just one man, for all the stuff that happened.
What about the border? What about the border? You talking about things going up and down. The amount of folks coming in this country under Biden has obviously skyrocketed. What about the border?
So I think that that there was a problem before him. It just really never was discussed.
Okay, but what about the notion that
wants to blame Biden for everything?
Yeah, but what about the notion that the numbers under Biden got worse? I'm with you that we've always had an issue at the border. Even Trump was talking about caravans, but under Biden, I believe the number of folks coming in this country increased 5-fold.
But under Biden, Venezuela didn't crumble. You know what I mean? Venezuela wasn't doing, their
power slap. Thank you.
Situation crumbled just as Biden was there. You know what I mean? It was just timing.
Okay. So do you think Biden deserves a second term?
I do.
Okay. All right. So what did you think of Trump's presidency? To make you get into politics at 45, what did you think of 4 years of Trump?
I think he is extremely arrogant.
Oh.
And he is narcissistic.
Yeah.
And he can do no wrong.
Wow.
As soon as you point out that he can do no wrong, he starts pointing out, instead of owning his own issues, he starts pointing out how everybody else did wrong.
The whataboutism is what they call it.
What about what happened?
No, whataboutism is what they call it. The minute you bring up something, you say, well, what about this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you do see Trump. What would you see? But imagine Trump back in there in later this year, or better yet, he would be inaugurated in January of next year. Do you really see America being any worse, or do you see America being better if Trump got reelected? What do you see America like if Trump got back in office?
I know I'm going to get feedback from this one, but I think democracy will cease to exist.
Wow. So you have
And that's scary.
You do have a reason to show up to the polls. All right, Tammy. This is our first time. It is a pleasure talking to you. It is a pleasure. Anytime, Tammy. Certainly anytime. Come on back through.
Have a good day, love.
You too, absolutely. So, a threat to democracy is a common fear of a resurgence of Trump. That is very common. A lot of folks are voting strictly based on that. Power to the people. Thank you for that teddy bear, I think it was. I did want to bring that up. And certainly that lemonade that just came in from Speed Racer is certainly appreciated. For my folks on YouTube, understand we run an uncensored program. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon, and folks are allowed to speak. Oddly enough, a hell of a lot more folks on the left have come into the program today because at the end of the day, and this is my humble opinion, I don't think there's a lot to criticize on Biden's speech. We're judging Biden's speech. I think you could criticize the material, but in terms of his cognitive ability, how many highlights are there? You know, Biden gets up there, he stumbles, he mispronounces words, says some shit that is irrelevant, and they play it over and over again. How many highlights did last night's State of the Union address produce? I haven't seen one. He did stutter a couple times, but in terms of just mumble jumble that means nothing, I didn't see any. And I think that might have something to do with my audience today. Thank you, Jay Star, for 444 for that money gun. Thank you very much. Trump had dinner with a dictator. Ooh. All right, let me keep it moving. Soto was garbage. Okay. Oh, snap. Another MAGA, says Beast One. We like MAGA here. You don't have to agree, but MAGA's always welcome on the program. P. Scott with the pup. Thank you. You guys are very kind today. All right, going back to the box, and I don't know what the hell's happening, but I do appreciate you folks that are being so kind. People in the USA. Okay, you guys are being so Friday. You guys are making Friday really good. P. Scott, definitely thank you. And that Swan was greatly appreciated. Power that says people in, I can't pronounce that, but did you catch the speech? Merlo, thank you. Did you catch the speech?
I did. I watched the whole thing.
What did you think?
Well, as a Trump supporter, we can no longer talk about his cognitive abilities.
Whoa, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I'll let you continue, but what about the notion that he only could do that because he was hooked on Mountain Dew or cocaine or something else?
It doesn't matter. The proof is in the pudding. What are you gonna if you talk about it, you're gonna look stupid. Why bring it up?
Yeah. So in other words, the idea that he can't string together a sentence, doesn't know where the hell he's at, you see that now as a farce.
Well, for now, there's still 8 months left to go, so we'll see what happens. But as of right now, I wouldn't bring that up.
Wow. And I mean, obviously, that is something that has been constantly rammed into us from Trump and Trump supporters, is that, Biden is out of it. So last night when he got up there and started sounding like that, yeah, I agree with you. In terms of cognitive ability, he knocked it out of the park. I mean, he looked like a dementia patient in complete remission. So I'm with you. It probably makes no sense to bring that up. So let's talk about the substance of the speech. Give me some things that you vehemently disagree with that he said last night.
So first of all, I love your program. Everybody I know, I send here. I think it's an amazing program, and I appreciate what you do.
And I appreciate you doing that. Thank you.
So one real quick thing before we go on to the rest of his speech.
Sure.
Part of what makes it even worse is watching the Katie Britt speech.
I have not seen all of that, but the parts I did is awful. She looks like a person that's bipolar that wants to love her husband and kill her husband in the same speech. That is awful. She did a really bad job.
Yes, my friend, that was an embarrassment.
Oh, I gotta look it up. I gotta look the whole thing up because I have not heard anyone suggest that she did a good job rebutting Biden.
Yeah, so the Democrats are really good at public relations. I do believe that. They're very good at it.
You
and
think
the Republicans
so?
are terrible. Yeah,
I
they're
gotta
really good.
I gotta disagree with you for the simple fact is the love of Trump from MAGA is significantly better than the love of Biden from Democrats. I think you got MAGA that thinks Trump is the best president out of all 46 of them. No one is saying that about Biden. The messaging that's coming from Trump, his people think he is like damn near God. Like, in fact, when I was in line at an actual Trump rally, I had an actual MAGA tell me Trump was appointed by God. You'll never hear that from any Democrat voting for Biden.
Well, you have to remember they're religious people, and you have to kind of remember the whole conservative views of it. And as a conservative, you kind of have an inherent mistrust of the government and the justice system, right?
But I never heard that George W. Bush was appointed by God. I never heard anybody say that.
That's true. That's 100% true. But because Trump has never in history has a president been attacked like Trump is being attacked.
True.
As far as all the indictments and the charges and the trying to kick him off the ballot. And you have to remember, the people who have an inherent trust of the government are looking at that. And regardless of whether you think he's guilty or not, it just doesn't sit right in your stomach. It can't.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you that Trump has been dealing with more indictments and more attacks than any president in history. But what you don't often hear cited from MAGA in regards to Trump is that he has also launched more attacks against people than any president in history as well. He's not some innocent dude that's walking down the street getting shot at. He's carrying a gun and firing shots at every house on the block. The people are just shooting back at him.
I mean, he is a New Yorker, so we got to give him some credit for that.
Okay, so you got to give the people credit for self-defense too.
That is true.
Yeah.
And I would say that the Democrats, they did a little misstep. I would say if you didn't charge him with 92 charges, maybe you got him for 32, and then you didn't fine him $300 million, you fined him $100 million, it would be more believable. Does that make sense?
No, because I think they believe every charge Trump is facing is bullshit. I don't think they could have charged Trump $10 and folks would have been like, yeah, I think they think all of those charges are bullshit. Lowering the amount I don't think would change it at all.
Maybe not, but it would seem more believable to certain people.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I agree with you. The Letitia James case, the figure is incredibly, it's a huge figure. So on appeal, if he comes up with the money, I can see him getting that lowered. But on the E. Jean Carroll case, I think the E. Jean Carroll case with suggesting that he groped her or whatever the case may be some 30 years ago, I think that case is probably the strongest one against Trump because she sued him for defamation. That woman was not claiming rape or trying to go after Trump in any way. All she did was wrote a tell-all book about what she said happened to her. And Trump took upon himself, as opposed to just ignoring the damn book and doing the same thing he did with Stormy Daniels. I don't know who she is. I don't know what she's talking. He decided to attack the woman, say things like he wouldn't fuck her and called her a pig and all this stuff. And the broad just started producing pictures. I mean, she had wrote a book and he stated this documentary belonged in the fiction section, attacking her work, and led himself right into a defamation case. He didn't have to do that. That would not have happened. He earned that defamation suit.
No, he runs his mouth way too much, and I agree with that.
And then when he lost the $5 million defamation suit, he doubled down and continued doing it.
Yeah, he does have a problem. He is an egomaniac. I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
Yeah.
But then when you look at what Biden has done also as president, and then you compare the two, we're not looking at a very good choice. I think most people would agree anyway. So people are going to err on the side of their party, and I don't think there's changing many people's opinions at this point.
Well, here's a difference, though. I think that if you're on the left and you don't like Trump, or you're on the right and you don't like Biden, I'm fine with politics going back to being boring. Let's say, for instance, Nikki Haley had won. If I lean left, she's not going to do a lot of things that I favor. But at the same time, she's not going to take pleasure in pissing me off. Just like Biden is not taking pleasure in pissing off Republicans. He may be going after MAGA because they think he's a frail old man that can't string together a sentence. But he's not going after the traditional Republicans. I'm kind of under the guise that we need to make politics boring again. And Trump likes to attack folks. That comes with recourse. He don't like getting attacked back. But he likes to do that. We need to get to an era, if we're going to ever become unified again, we got to get to an era where politicians just politic. They don't get in fights with everybody.
So I agree. I think the American people are losing right now because I don't think anything's getting done, nothing's getting accomplished, and all we're doing is just attacking each other as political opponents and as political sides. And it's a shame.
Well, I disagree with that we're not getting anything accomplished. Rolling back Roe v. Wade for evangelicals was an accomplishment. There are things that are happening. I mean, you know, we talk about Biden has had some smaller accomplishments. I don't think most of the accomplishments of Biden, I don't think there are things you're going to remember 100 years from now, so to speak. But rolling back Roe v. Wade, if that doesn't get either codified or it's left the same way it is, that's a huge accomplishment. A lot of folks on the left don't like it, but it's something that they've been seeking for 50 years or more. So we are getting things accomplished. People just don't like it.
That's true. That was, in my opinion, a very big political misstep. You know, if Trump is such a good businessman, that was a political misstep, I would say, because you kind of alienated a lot of voters.
Yeah.
But it was an accomplishment.
Yeah. And I do agree with you that it alienated a hell of a lot of folks. And what do you think about Biden looking directly at the 9 Supreme Court justices and telling them, what you did is only going to energize the power of women, and you're going to realize they have more power in this country than you do. How do you view that? Did he overstep, or do you think that was spot on?
So I must say, if you go back and you look at his past 3 speeches, the State of the Union addresses, a lot of them are very similar. He has almost the exact same talking points at every one, if you go back and watch them.
Yeah.
So it's more of the same old rhetoric. And if you're talking about the same talking points, then why haven't you gotten anything done in 3 years that you're talking about still? And I get that that falls on the Congress too. And then I thought that the speech was very divisive. I think that he kind of solidified his base, but by attacking certain people and being so aggressive, he didn't, I wouldn't necessarily say he won over anybody by doing that.
Is it possible? And I agree with you. And by the way, folks, tap the screen. We're trying to get up to around 85,000. You certainly can do that with over 1,200 of you in here. Certainly show your boy some love. This is an uncensored program. Tap the screen. Do you think it would be possible after 3 years in office, talking about Biden, knowing that Trump eagerly wants to be the commander-in-chief again, do you think is it even possible for Biden to unify everybody?
Yeah, I think a lot of the reason Biden was...
What could he say? What could he say? If you were advising him, what could he say do you believe would unify that crowd last night?
What could Biden say to unify everyone?
What would have made Marjorie Taylor Greene stand up and applaud?
Can I be honest, and this is going to be very controversial?
That's the reason you're here.
If Biden would have stood up there, apologized for all of the unalivings that have happened recently, and then also pardoned the January 6 people.
Oh, wow. I didn't tell you to swing that hard. Oh, my God. Go ahead.
Explain?
Yeah.
So I think they were just a bunch of people who thought they were going to go have a kegger on the lawn. And then when they saw a certain amount of rowdy people going in, they all thought, hey, the doors are open. Everybody's going in. They didn't really necessarily think that it was that big of a deal. If you were just hanging out on the lawn protesting and you saw everybody going in, you probably would have followed suit.
Wait. You thought they were just folks that were, going to go and, look in the building or whatever. And then when folks started acting crazy, it was kind of a mob action. You do realize they brought a gallows and was yelling to take the life of the vice president before they even went to the building. The party was already talking violence before the Capitol. You got a guy walking around with an Auschwitz t-shirt on. That doesn't say hug me. I mean, they were already pretty hyped up.
Yes, I'm not talking about the crazy people like that. There are a couple people that initially went in. I'm talking about the people that kind of the followers, the people that probably looked at it as though, hey, we're gonna go check out the Capitol. I think that, I think it got hyped up so much that those people kind of made a bad decision, and unfortunately they're going to pay for that bad decision for the rest of their lives. And I think most of them were peaceful, similar to like peaceful protesters.
Yeah, but here's the issue I have. Let's say Biden took your advice. He decided to apologize and pardon the protesters. I'm going to be kind and say protesters on January 6th. And we're already suggesting that Trump is not responsible. It's just the folks that got out of hand. So Trump's not responsible, and the folks that went in get pardoned. What's the hell to stop this from happening again? Essentially, nobody was held accountable. What would stop it from happening again? Because Trump is still saying the election was stolen. What would stop it from happening again?
So I agree. And to be honest, I think that would be a very strong political statement against Donald Trump. If I was Joe Biden, I would spin it. I would say, hey, you all were incited by Donald Trump. He's an a-hole. Y'all made a mistake. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to unify the country by showing mercy and at the same time dogging Donald Trump. Hold on.
So he pardons the protesters, and then he calls Trump an a-hole, and you believe that'll unify MAGA by calling Trump an a-hole?
I'm just saying, I think it would be
a
political statement.
But I asked you what would unify that crowd, and this is what you gave me. You suggesting that calling Trump an asshole on national TV, global television, by the way, because that was shown worldwide, would unify MAGA. That would make Marjorie Taylor Greene stand up, yay, Trump is an asshole. You really think that?
Well, think about what MAGA is, right? MAGA, like you said, MAGA is willing to follow Trump, Mr. Loudmouth. Well, if you fight a little fire with fire and you spin it into your own favor, listen, I know this is an exaggeration. This is
I don't think, go ahead.
It would be a very big political statement, but it's basically like doing business. If Joe Biden could have figured that out, I think a lot of people would have jumped onto that side because they would have said, hey, you're right. Donald Trump screwed us over. I can't believe he told us to go in there. And now I'm facing criminal charges. This is terrible. I'll never vote for that man again. Does it make sense from that point?
No, because you do realize everybody he pardoned to this day, for the most part, still think that election was stolen. So they're going to be like, your ass shouldn't have never locked me up to begin with. They don't believe Biden even won the election. You're not going to unify those people. You're a fraud.
Well, I don't know. I think when you go to jail and you're facing real charges, you wake up a little bit, don't you?
No, not if you think the guy who locks you. Look, if a cop locks me up for some bullshit that I didn't do, and then he comes back 6 months later and lets me out, that don't make me feel sympathetic towards him. I should have never been in there.
That's true. I was just thinking of it from like an extreme perspective. I just thought it would be an interesting topic.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. But I don't think you're going to unify MAGA with that at all. I got to move it on. No, that was unique. Thank
you. That's what I try.
You certainly did, but no participation trophy today. Come on back anytime, though. Appreciate you coming in. All right.
Thank you.
Hey, you too. All right, looking in the comments, MAGA just wants to be right, says, I can't pronounce the name there, but I think both sides kind of want to be right. 1,300 of you folks here. Thank you for that heart there. I didn't see the name. That was Merlo. Merlo. Thank you, Merlo, by the way. And same with you folks on YouTube. Feel free to smash that like button. Almost 500 of you here on YouTube. So that's, the numbers have certainly gotten better there. I do want to acknowledge your participation on YouTube as well. When Obama first got in, I was kind of proud of my country. I was kind of proud of my country. Her voting the first black guy in, I'll admit it, look at what Snowden said about Obama, that it got worse. The grammar on that is hard to make out what you're saying, but sounds like you're suggesting you were anticipating greatness from Obama, but Snowden and what took place during this term soured you. I'm trying to interpret that. He didn't tell people to go inside. Dum-dum, says Tommy Hurst. No, Trump did not say go inside the Capitol building. He said we're going to march to the Capitol building. I'll be there with you. And he did talk about going peacefully after telling him a bunch of things that really, really hyped him up. Bro sounded dumber than a bald chick in a bonnet. Come on. Be nice to the guest. Naeem Barber, a friend of the program. Thank you for that super chat. Going back to the box, you folks are tapping the screen on TikTok. Thank you. We're near 100,000, so I do want to acknowledge that. We will go back to the box and make it happen with many names. Talking about the State of the Union address. I haven't had anybody really slam it. And that's surprising. I have a significant quantity of MAGA in the audience. I have not heard a lot of folks slam it. I mean, remember, we've had numerous live streams on how Biden is in cognitive decline. And I believe the lack of slamming is due to the fact that his cognitive decline predictions were superseded significantly. He did significantly better than he was portrayed. I'll go back once again and try to box out in a second here, because let's take it this way before I go to the box. Let's assume someone was describing a guy that you had never seen before. That guy is Joe Biden, but you've never seen him before. And you're simply listening to Trump and supporters of the president, supporters of Trump. And they're all describing this dude out there that's a politician, talking about Biden. You've never seen him before, though. And then for the first time, you see him last night, 9 p.m. Eastern, giving a State of the Union address. Wouldn't that make you, like, why did you guys think this dude was out of it? Like, well, okay, I just watched him for 90 minutes. He don't measure up. He don't fit what you guys have been telling me. Did you look at Biden giving that 90-minute speech and think, yeah, what they've been saying about him is right? How many of you folks felt like, yeah, he do look really screwed up out here. He do look like he don't know what he's talking about. He does look like he about to fall down. How many of you folks felt that way after watching the show or watching the speech last night? All right, we'll continue on if I can get it to work this time. Sight beyond sight. After I say rest in peace, RFK Jr. for 2024, that's not going to happen. RFK Jr. has no chance. Sight beyond sight. Good afternoon.
What's up, my brother?
Not much at all. Hey, did you see the speech?
I saw a good portion of it.
What do you think of the portion you saw?
I think it was good. I think he was able to tout some of his accomplishments and some of the things he wanted to do. So yeah, I really like the speech.
No cognitive decline?
I mean, of course, there's a cognitive decline. I mean, he's 80 years old.
81.
I mean,
almost 82. Almost 82.
Yeah, but I don't think it was something that was significant where you would think that he's incapable of doing his job.
Do you think maybe perhaps Trump is better for running this country than Biden?
I don't know.
Why not?
Because Trump's idea of running this country is for himself. He looks to better himself. He doesn't have the American interests at heart. A lot of his policies were counterproductive to the country.
Give me a Trump policy that you believe was counterproductive to this nation.
I believe that the tariff war he's had was counterproductive. I believe that the deal he signed with OPEC and the Saudis were counterproductive to the agency. To America, because they decreased oil production at a time where oil production was needed. So we were in a detriment. In 2018, we saw that the oil industry was suffering, that he had to bail them out.
But what about the notion that under Trump, folks are going to point out that the price of fuel for the average consumer was much cheaper than it is now under Biden?
And I think this is what people are not looking at. They're looking at the closer we got to COVID, the lower the prices were. But in his first 3 years, the oil prices were pretty much right on par with what Obama had at the end of his term. I think it was maybe a 10 cent difference, but the oil prices wasn't that much lower until we had COVID, and then we saw it kind of bottom out, right? But we also got to look at how many oil companies filed for bankruptcy under Trump, how many refineries we lost, right? So even though we may have had low oil prices, it was detrimental to the country.
Well, but you got folks like on YouTube, Adam L says energy independence is very good. And he has suggested we no longer have it. Like we lost energy independence under Biden, but we had it under Trump.
Which makes no sense. That just means that they don't know what energy independence is. Because under Biden, we are definitely exporting more than we're importing. We're producing more oil now than any time in history.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
This is what the numbers say. So, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. So what about the fact that right now we got Ukraine, Russia, you got Israelis, dealing with the Palestinians and Hamas. Under Trump, it wasn't like that. Folks point out that under Trump, it's the world seemed a more peaceful place than it does right now.
Which is not true. We still had the same amount of conflicts. It may not have been on a larger scale, but there was conflicts. Right, what people fail to realize or even point out is that under Trump, there was a war between the Saudis and the Yemens that we were funding the Saudi coalition, and that after Khashoggi was executed, Congress told Trump we're not supporting them no more. He vetoed that and continued to support them. Not only did he support them, he also made a trade agreement for weapons and nuclear secrets. So how was that America first?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that whole Khashoggi thing, I mean, they chopped the guy up. I mean, yeah, the idea that, we claim that we're for, human rights and things like that, and to not sanction or punish them at all. I mean, they chopped the guy up. Same thing with Navalny. Trump really hasn't been critical of Russia for what they did to Navalny. Now, Biden absolutely has, but Trump really hasn't been critical of that.
I mean, and people remember what happened with the Kurds under Trump. He left them to die. Wow. So let's not act like it was all peaches and cream and rainbows and unicorns under Trump, but it wasn't.
Yeah. So if you're pointing such a bad picture of Trump, the man got 74 million votes. Why do you think so many people love the guy? In fact, the support for Trump from Trump supporters is far greater than the support from Biden among Democrats.
So I think with Trump, I think that he tapped into a community that he's able to speak at their level, right? He's able to speak in a way that they appreciate, and they're not looking at matching what he says to what he does.
Well,
it's the whole classic thing of we all got that one person in the group that had the gift of gab, but we knew he was full of shit. I mean, they brought it.
All right, Sight Beyond Sight. You said you got the gift of gab, but you're full of shit. All right, appreciate it. Yeah, you too. Because I had an uncle that's like, he's passed away now, but I had an uncle that fit that description. Appreciate you coming on. No, wow, we
all got that uncle that had that pimping in him.
Yep.
There's one of them.
Yep. Wow. All right, moving on. You can be a king or a street cleaner, but everyone dances with the Reaper. Leo Carl on YouTube. I don't know what that means, but I sure feel it. You have a lot of people that is very misinformed, They hear him say things, but no action behind it. In regards to misinformed individuals, that is the sole purpose of this program, is that we strongly believe in civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle. Because I don't block, ban, or censor anyone. I don't support doing that, because I don't believe you change hearts and minds by shutting people up, by silencing folks, by censoring or banning folks. When you allow folks to converse from all sides of the aisle, you exchange ideas. Some people learn a little bit. Other people may change their minds here or there. But at the end of the day, we all can work together from that aspect. I don't like the divisive environment where it's my way or no way, or you're suggesting the same thing. It's I think it's a lot better when we all talk, and that's what we try to do here on the program. Looking in the comments, though, I love this perspective, says Old School Jules. Thank you, and I appreciate you being here. I think a woman should have her own choice, says Hellfire Bronson. Yeah, but the problem is you're going to get past the men. A lot of men don't think that. A lot of men believe that if a woman wants to terminate their child, the choice should also fall upon them as well. I don't know how to end the abortion debate other than to let the people vote. However, politicians on the right are not going to be in favor of letting the people vote, because what we have seen is that when the people can speak, they're going to give a woman the right to choose. They're going to, and I will tell you this before we continue the program on. If states put abortion rights on the ballot, the liberals are going to kill. Because women are going to show up just to vote on that issue, but since they're there, they're going to pick Biden and all of the damn liberals that are there. They're going to vote, blue down the line. So states are going to be trying to prevent abortion from being on the ballot this November as much as they can, because that is a losing issue for folks on the left. I think Florida is trying to fight that from being on the ballot there. The citizens in Florida want abortion on the ballot. It's going to lead to electing of more liberals, because some of them folks who would not have been, not have came out and voted, the folks who come out and vote in favor of women having the right to choose, they are highly likely to be liberal, if not progressive. So if they show up to vote on abortion, you can best believe they're going to be checking blue all over the ballot, which is why those states don't want abortion on the ballot, because it is not good. It's going to cause actual losses of jobs for Republican politicians. Imagine if Christ would have been aborted. It would be a different universe. Dustin, I get your point. But here, before I go to the box, let me just say this. You can't pick and choose when to use the phrase WWJD. What would Jesus do? Because we can talk about the fact, and I'm not very religious, but I certainly agree with my person in the comments there. Jesus likely would not be in favor of abortion. But do you think Jesus would be in favor of what's happening at the border? Do you think Jesus would be in favor of what Governor Greg Abbott in Texas has done, and Ron DeSantis to a lesser degree, sending immigrants up north in the middle of winter with no clothing? If you're going to suggest you are doing what Jesus does, be consistent. Because that would not qualify. That would absolutely not qualify. I'm going to assume any God or deity would be pro-life, but pro-life also extends well past the womb. Well, whether you're canceling welfare, food stamp programs, free lunch, all of that, that's pro-life too. That's pro-life for somebody that's actually alive. It goes beyond the womb. Most likely, Jesus, since we're talking about the deity, heaven would be a sanctuary city. Heaven would be a sanctuary city. It wouldn't have barbed wire around it. They wouldn't be putting devices in the water so that it made it harder to swim to heaven and possibly drown. That ain't the way Jesus would do it. Unless perhaps you think otherwise. Look at it in the comments, though. They actually wanted and invited the immigrants. And somebody gave me a host of Bible verses I meant to discuss. I don't really do the Bible much, but there are books of the Bible that talks about how to treat strangers, and it's favorably. It's not Governor Abbott style. Governor Abbott must be the New Testament. That's some new shit that Governor Abbott is on. That must be in the new book, the book of hatred or something. I don't know. That's a new book. Going back to the box though. Continuing the program on. I don't know what happened there, but RDL, Romeo Delta Lima. Good afternoon. I love this perspective. Thank you there, RDL. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing, Tim?
I'm doing good. Did you catch the State of the Union address last night?
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
What do you think of it?
I thought Biden killed it.
Wow. Not one. I don't have one dissenter. Not one person thought he did a bad job. This is amazing. So,
Well, you know,
go ahead.
you can't. You know, I mean, how can you find anybody? It was good, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to get everything that he said he wants. You know, he's not going to be able to do everything he said he wants to do. But at least he's got a plan.
Yeah, well, like I was saying earlier, usually when Biden gets up there and has a host of gaffes or calls something, out of its correct name or something, you see the highlights all over Fox and right-wing media. I haven't seen one negative highlight of Biden stumbling or anything from that speech. 90 continuous minutes, not one highlight has been produced from that.
Well, I think he slurred a little bit of his words here and there, maybe stumbled a little bit. But I mean, at his age, that's not that,
But let me just say this, because Biden has been known to have a stuttering problem,
right?
For, most of his adult life. And if you had an adult, let's say an adult that was 40 years old, or maybe my age, that had a stuttering problem, 90 minutes with only 2 or 3 episodes of stuttering that lasted all of maybe a half a second, age ain't got nothing to do with it. Even for a 30, 40-year-old with a stuttering problem, he did better than most of them. I mean, there was not even a lot of stuttering in that.
I didn't even see him take a drink of water.
No.
He got to take a drink of water. I didn't.
No, he coughed. He coughed a few times, but no, he didn't even take a drink of water. There is just nothing in terms of cognitive ability to really criticize.
No, I seen the speaker behind him drinking water because it was hard to swallow some of that shit. I think he was shaking his head and stuff. It's like, hey, come on, man. He said a lot of good stuff that the Republicans should have stood up for and clapped.
Yeah.
I think the only thing they did was the lady, one of the
black woman,
activists.
the voting activist, the voting rights act,
Right.
And he hesitated. Yeah, I saw that the older woman that was chewing gum or whatever, and it was like you could tell he was thinking about standing up, but folks are looking at him like, dude, if you don't stand up for the damn Voting Rights Act with an elderly black woman, you're gonna look like a fucking racist. So finally, he was like, okay, maybe I should stand now.
Oh, sure, yeah. Exactly, man. Yeah, I think Biden really did good. I've seen a thing this morning where they showed him tripping going up the stairs to get on the Air Force One, and it made him look like he fell like 3 times. They speed it up and whatever it is. And he's not that bad, man. I mean, my father-in-law's 85 and he can't get out of the chair hardly.
Yeah.
But I think, Yeah.
So did yours? Now were you likely to vote for Biden even before the speech last night?
Oh yeah.
Did it make your support? Did it make your support or your confidence in Biden grow at all?
Yes, it did. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I've heard folks say, the reason why I asked you that is, with Trump constantly being indicted, many suggest that his supporters, seeing him getting railroaded by the system, in their opinion, has made their support for Trump grow. And I think that may have the same effect for Biden, that he's being railroaded as a guy who is completely mentally unfit to even be a damn human being. And folks are like, this guy, you're mistreating this guy. He ain't as out of it as you're saying. And it's drawing support to Biden as well, because he's being railroaded by claims of being mentally ill.
Hell yeah. Hey, man, think about it. You can sit and talk to a Trumper and tell him everything in the world that Trump did or didn't do and everything that Biden did. You can't convince them. I don't care, man. Their grandmother couldn't convince them. some of the stuff Trump's done, you know?
Well,
You can't, man.
they believe, well, Trump, the direction that they want this country to head, and they think Trump was, doing a perfect job on that. So they're willing to overlook a few things because they believe Trump is one of the best presidents we've ever had.
Well, they can overlook if they want. I think he tried to commit a coup. I think he tried to steal 2020. And I'll tell you another thing. I live in Georgia, man, and 16 and 20, there was Trump flags in just about every yard in Georgia. I have not seen too many Trump's banners and flags around. I'm not.
Really. Fannie Willis is in a lot of trouble down there.
I think she should be, man. I watched that stuff too, and I think she perjured herself pretty bad.
Yeah. So
her and Wade, I think they both perjured themselves pretty bad.
So can we assume?
No need to.
Can we assume Trump is going to get away down there in Georgia? I mean, it doesn't. I mean, if she's out of it, he's good.
Oh yeah, he's going to get away with it.
Yeah.
He's going to get away with it in Florida too because it's so red. He'll never get a jury in Florida to convict him down in Florida.
Wow.
I don't think so. And if this stuff don't happen before the election and he wins, which I don't know. I think that's a long if. He's going to get it all thrown out anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's the plan. Yeah, we know if he wins, he's going to interfere with his own case. I mean, he's going to get rid of Merrick Garland, and the next guy's going to get rid of Jack Smith, and they're going to come back and say, on second thought, this whole thing was bullshit, and we have now dropped the charges. I do got to move it on to RDL.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I'm sitting in my garage waiting on my grandson to show up. I'm going to have him all weekend. So he's going to be 3, so he's going to wear me out this weekend.
Good times, though. He'll never forget it. Man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Hey, thank you, man. I love your show.
Absolutely.
Watch it every day.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for the support.
Thank you.
All right. Looking in the comments. Wow. Another Trump bites the dust. What does that mean? 25% tax for billionaires. That is something that the progressives will likely cheer on last night. He was talking about tax the rich. So, listen, I think that Biden originally came on scene with the goal to unite America. We can talk about him being an utter failure at it if you want, or whatever the case may be. But when he came on scene trying to unite the country after Trump, pissed off the progressives because he wasn't far enough to the left. And fact is, the Trump supporters thought he was a fraud. So there was never any chance that Biden could unite the country. So I think what Biden has decided to do is realize I'm not going to get, folks on the right to like me no matter what. So now he's starting to entertain the progressives because he can win that crowd. If he could end the Israeli issues with Gaza, student loan forgiveness, some of the progressive issues, which he actually has a little bit of you're not going to win MAGA. You're not going to win the folks on the right no matter what. Most of them think you are in office by means of fraud. So he's starting to realize maybe I need to go further to the left. There is some love over there. He's not going to beat Trump among Republicans no matter what he does. He's just not. He may be able to get more of Nikki Haley's votes, because there are plenty of never Trumpers within her supporters, but that's a small portion of the Republican Party. But he could certainly please a hell of a lot more progressives. That would be an easier swing for him. And he's not going to lose any Democrats pleasing progressives. Looking in the comments, though, food prices are ridiculous. Ali says that. Now, here's something I didn't know, and I'll continue the program. And there's a hell of a lot of shit I don't know. That's why I talk to you folks, and I often enjoy your perspective on a lot of issues. I learn, and hopefully I can educate in kind. Food prices. I didn't know there's a boycott against Kellogg. I'm seeing it all over TikTok and social media, Facebook as well. Louis Jr., thank you for the subscription. It is greatly appreciated. Louis, thank you. Absolute happy Friday to you. I didn't know that folks are starting to outright boycott these companies. Now, I've heard the rhetoric that it's not Biden that's responsible for grocery prices. They're price gouging. Listen, the left side of me believes that corporations will steal every dollar they can from folks. They will use every conflict to rip you off as much as they can. So more and more folks are starting to realize that, like for instance, when Biden became president, gas prices were sky high. They're still high, but they're not as high as they were in the beginning. Power, thank you for the TikTok cap. Thank you. They're not as high as they were, but food prices were not coming down in kind with it. Yeah, Vanessa, appreciate it. I had mustache. So folks are realizing that some of this is not Biden's fault. It's corporations deliberately price gouging because they can. But I understand Biden detractors are going to blame him no matter what. Leslie with the hat and mustache. Yeah, appreciate it. So going back to the box, I do believe some folks are wising up. I don't know, I'm going to tell you this. I do believe that speech, whether you lean right or left, I do believe the State of the Union address helped Biden significantly from one aspect, cognitive abilities. One of my callers called in earlier. He is MAGA. He supports Trump wholeheartedly. He stated, we need to get off the notion that Biden is in cognitive decline. After seeing that speech, that doesn't resonate anymore. That doesn't resonate. So I do believe that actually, that speech, at least from that aspect, was very helpful to President Biden. And like I said, I haven't had one guest come up yet to suggest that Biden did a bad job last night with that. Not one person, and I'm looking for him. All right, going back to the box, that was a Biden clone. So you don't believe that was actually President Biden, that was a clone. Then I don't know what to do with that. I mean, is it James Wood, some folks say, or Jim Carrey? Some of my QAnon viewers often suggest that Biden is deceased. So was Hillary Clinton. They suggested at the behest of Trump, Hillary Clinton was executed back in 2018 or something like that. Like I said, I go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. We get folks to speak, and some of the things they say are quite alarming like that. I don't believe that's a Biden clone. You're going to tell me Lindsey Graham and all of them sitting in a room with the guy, don't know the man they've been debating, talking politics with for the last 40 years. They don't know him. A clone was able to fool them too. Okay. All right. Tupac is Biden. Yeah, there you go. Tupac has been resurrected as an old-ass white man. There you go. Tupac wouldn't even be close to Biden's age right now. They probably had him nap for 20 hours before the State of the Union. Yeah, I believe that. I do believe that. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Still over 1,100 of you in here. I am astonished. I do appreciate the participation. In regards to the notion that Biden took a nap before the speech, what's so big about what? I mean, you want the guy to be, strung out on coke and speed? I mean, what's wrong with him taking a nap before doing something very important? I went to college as a young man, 20s, 30s, and 40s. I got 3 degrees, so I went to college a few times. And before taking a major exam, I would try to get as much sleep as possible. Why would you be wide awake? What's wrong with taking a long-ass nap if you're about to do something that's important? Particularly if you're 81 years old. You don't think Trump would do that? What's wrong with it? I mean, I would advise him to be, well-rested. Hell, if you're in the military and you're about to go take up on a really, stressful mission, make sure you get some rest before it. What's wrong with that? That the man took a nap before going out and doing a speech at 9:00 at night. That speech started at 9 p.m. local for him. Okay. If I was going to do a speech where everyone on the planet had access to it, damn near, we know it was national, but it was also televised globally, I'm sure. And people done already said I'm full of shit and I don't know, I don't have any cognitive abilities. Yeah, I'm going to be rested because now I know not only do I have to deliver this speech, they're paying attention to make sure I'm not in cognitive decline. So they're really focusing on me. Yeah, take a nap. Yeah, take a long nap. That's advisable. That makes sense. In the comments, McClure says, I take naps all the time. All right, going back to the box. I have a hard time taking naps in the middle of the day. So if I had a 9:00 speech, it's very difficult for me to take naps in daylight. Truth is irony. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Truth, are you there? Okay.
Hey,
Your background's loud.
oh man, you can't. Something is wrong with TikTok because
I hear you now.
I can't hear you guys, but I guess you can hear me. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. So I would love to interact with you. Can I drop down and you bring me back?
Yeah, do that.
All
Do
right,
that.
cool.
Do that. All right, we'll give him a second. We certainly don't want to have a mime-like conversation, so we'll give him a second. Truth is irony. Give him a second, and we will continue the program on. We're asking, did you see the State of the Union address? Did anybody think he did a bad job? I'm surprised. I mean, I have 100% of guests have suggested he did a good job. Now, people don't agree with every damn thing he said, such as taxing the rich or passing the border bill. They think the border bill is trash. A lot of folks on the right does. But I'm really surprised. After being told a guy can't string together a sentence, doesn't know where the hell he's at, for his entire term, we've been told that. Not one person thinks he did bad cognitively on the speech. Let's try it again with the truth is irony. Not one person have had say he did a bad job up there. Truth, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I love your lives, bro. You are extremely fair and you are informed, which those two are. That's a powerful way to do a live.
I appreciate that. My ex-wife didn't agree with you, but I do appreciate that. So you caught the speech.
That's probably why she's your ex.
Yeah, that may have something to do with it. So you caught the speech.
Yes, I did.
What say you?
So I think that what Biden did, he put to rest the narrative that he was, suffering from dementia. He gave Democrats a lot of ammo to fight back to these MAGA crowd. You know what I really believe? I think the Republicans now, not the MAGA crowd, but the Republicans have actually understood that Joe Biden is a capable president. And they may not agree with all of his policies, but they don't see him as some dithering idiot.
Yeah.
Now MAGA, you know what I compare MAGA with? I compare MAGA with third graders who believe in Santa Claus.
Oh my God! You gotta. Why do you think that? These are some of those are smart people.
Let me explain it. I think they're like third graders who believe in Santa Claus when some of the other third graders, their parents have told them that there is no Santa Claus. And so these kids come in and say, hey, there's no Santa Claus. And those kids say, yes, there is. Yes, there is.
But wait. Hey, listen, MAGA, they have principles. They're a lot of folks are patriots. They've served in the military. What is it about MAGA that makes you think they believe in Santa Claus and fairy tales? What aspect of MAGA leads you to say that?
I'm not saying they believe in Santa Claus. I said they're like kids who believe in Santa, because they've bought in, and now they've been invested in it for so long that they don't want to be, it's much easier to con somebody than to prove to them or tell them that they've been conned.
Wow.
So these people are remedial, and I'm going to keep it real. Trump speaks on a third or fourth grade level, and that he communicates well with those people who understand that. That's why you always hear them say he speaks the truth. That he says what we want to say, but we can't say.
Third?
That's why.
Well, come on.
He's speaking on their level.
Truth. Third or fourth grade level. The man was a billionaire. I'm gonna say was, but the man is incredibly wealthy. You think he got like that speaking on the third or fourth grade level?
Well, let me explain to you why his billionaire status, if it's actually accurate, is not impressive to me.
Okay.
Every single business that he tried to start up, other than the real estate, and for those of if you do the research, 90% of the people who are millionaires have significant real estate holdings. Because why? When you own property, it always appreciates. It is the only investment that is foolproof.
Okay.
That's what Trump is. He's a realtor. He has properties. So as bad as he screwed up Trump Vodka, Trump Airlines, the guy...
Trump Steaks? Trump University?
Trump universe. I mean, I could go on, but I thought you got the point.
Trump steaks, yeah, I hear you.
So it actually takes some kind of know-how and business acumen to make that work. Even Puffy was able to make vodka work, but Trump couldn't do it. So what I'm saying is Trump bankrupted. He bankrupted a casino, man. They allow you to beat the public out of money. And 2 of them, as a matter of fact.
So, folks,
I'm not impressed with his intellect, because every business that he tried to start that would require real intellect and business acumen, he failed at. There's not one that you can say, oh yeah, Trump was really smart, but with this business, look at how well Trump worked.
Was his golf courses doing that bad? I don't know if I would agree that his businesses were all failing. I mean, the guy's been in business
Which one? Name one that's not real estate that's actually profitable.
Well, that's what his primary business was. It was real estate, though.
Right. So Puffy's primary business was music, but Ciroc is out there making millions.
Yeah. I mean, I get your point.
You think Puffy's smarter than Donald Trump? Obviously, because he was able. Sean John clothing. Well, I mean, in order to actually be a successful businessman, doesn't mean you get to own properties. And if you do absolutely nothing, they're going to increase in value, because simply that's how real estate works.
But if he's so rough around the edges as you're stating, 74 million folks, the loyalty to Trump considerably outweighs the loyalty to Biden. If he's as bad as you're saying, how the hell that happen?
I already explained that to you. It is because he speaks to them on their level, and he says what they would like to say, but they're not, I guess, powerful enough to say. So for example, if you were at the what was it, a black businessman or a black Republican event,
yeah,
and Trump got up there and said,
"Oh man,
light was so bright in my eyes, I can only see the black people."
Let me say something.
Gave money.
Yeah, let me say something, because I've always been obviously dark skinned. I'm dark as hell. You guys can see me on camera. In fact, I'm so dark. I remember
chocolate.
Okay, but that's the sexier term. But I remember as a kid sitting in a dark room remember back in the day they had those egg type chairs. They were shaped like an egg. You could sit in them. I'm telling my age, but they used to have these chairs that were white and they looked like an egg, and you could sit in them.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I had somebody sit on top of me because I was dark and they didn't see me sitting there. So yeah, I mean, literally, if you turn down the lights dark enough, I look like a ghost monster after being chomped on Pac-Man, just eyes and teeth. You can't even see me. So the issue, what I'm saying is this. What room is so dark you can only see the black people? We're the ones you cannot see when the room is dark. So I don't understand.
That's my point, man.
Yeah.
That's my point. But that's very inappropriate to say. Everybody knows that. He said it, got away with it, did not lose not one follower, and to my knowledge, nobody even left the room that was a person of color. I mean, even if you're not a person of color, if you have any kind of decorum, you wouldn't accept that. And it's infectious the way that he's immoral, and he has absolutely no self-control. That's why yesterday at the State of the Union address, you had Marjorie Taylor Greene coming there and with a Trump hat on, with a Make America Great hat on. And that's inappropriate. It's against the rules, but they have no self-control.
Yeah.
Why? Their leader has no self-control.
Yeah,
it is what it is, man. They follow him and they mirror his actions because a lot of them simply want to belong to something. They want to be, they weren't the cool kids in school, so they want to be accepted. They want to be loved, so they join MAGA. And if you're in MAGA, there's a lot of black people that are in MAGA simply so they can be accepted by somebody.
Wow.
You got a bunch of, I'm telling you, got a bunch of low IQ people that are following a low IQ guy. And I don't know how accurate it is, but there's a TikTok where a guy says that Trump's been analyzed and he speaks at a 5th grade level and his IQ is like 73.
I can't buy into that. To me, that's just like doctors diagnosing Biden to have dementia through the TV screen. I think there are some people who have a negative view and they want to just, really shame somebody because you got so many folks saying on television that Biden has dementia and they did all of their diagnosis through the TV screen. I believe Trump's actual vocal abilities are above that. I mean, I don't think he would have got all of those business deals, certainly deals overseas and things like that if he was a total idiot. So I give him a little bit more credit than that. But truth, I do have to move it on. You know what we do here. Appreciate you coming through.
Thanks
though.
for having me.
Absolute, you too. All right, looking in the comment section, is college GPA 1.35? You can't even think one GPA of a 1.35. You almost have to try to have a GPA that low. Yeah, that's really bad. I think having a 2.0 is D's, D as in David. D's across the board is a 2.0. So obviously there's a host of F's in there if you got a 1.35. Yeah, I don't. Who had a 1.35 GPA? Wow. Who would even want to get that information out? 1.35. He said it's against the rules, Tim. Marjorie Taylor Greene showing up in a Trump outfit, the MAGA hat, pro-Trump slogans on her shirt. I think she had a button on her or something. Is it against the rules? I don't think there are any rules. I mean, you could say Nancy Pelosi tearing up Trump's speech is against the rules. It's wrong. It lacks decorum. It doesn't look good. I mean, same thing with Nancy Pelosi doing that, and many of us on the left cheered that on. I mean, yeah, it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, didn't she show the genitalia of Biden's son? I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is trash for some of the things she does. And oddly enough, she got on the floor one time and was suggesting that the floor needs to come to order, and everybody laughed at her like, are you kidding me? You expect everybody to be respectful with all of the shit you've done? So, but yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene from that aspect, in my opinion, is fairly trashy. Naeem Barber, getting cooked by a motherfucker with dementia is wild. And so is that statement. Not IQ, but the analysis of his speech was fourth. I don't quite get what you mean when you say fourth. Elaborate on that. Offer Trump to God as a burnt offering. Yikes. That's harsh. Yikes. The average vocab and sentence structure, says Naeem. You think Trump's that bad? I don't know. They weren't saying that before he became president. Everybody favored Trump before he became president. He was on Oprah talking about the possibility of becoming president. Nobody said he talked like a third grader. That didn't come out until he became president. I don't see it. I don't see it. MAGA is full of morally bankrupt individuals. I think that more political parties other than just MAGA feature morally bankrupt individuals. I'm sure there's plenty on the left, plenty in the center, plenty on the right, and yes, MAGA has morally bankrupt individuals in it as well. I think that's kind of par for the course. We have very successful business people who read and write below 5th grade level. Okay, all right, listen, I'm not one of them, so I can't say yay or nay. Maybe you're right. Read and write below 5th grade level. You're doing something right. Maybe the power of negotiation, or maybe you invented something. I can understand that. There are some engineers, some inventors that are really good at what they created, but if you ask them what is this, they would be the wrong spokesperson to even describe their product. So I get what you're saying. Okay, that makes sense. Kind of remind me of the old Will Smith movie Independence Day, where they go in the basement where the guy is down there with an alien and he goes, they don't let us out very much. He knows what he's doing, but he's not the guy to give speeches. Your point's well taken. Trump school refused to release his grades. Didn't George W. Bush apparently was a C average student or something like that? So some of your points here are well taken. Moving the program on, rather. President Bambo, I don't know what that means, but let's give it a shot. President, good afternoon.
Well, living the dream. How's it going?
You know, some would say I'm living a nightmare on occasion, but did you catch the speech?
I did.
What you-
I was thoroughly entertained. I was surprised. I mean, like anyone who's like looked into this for any amount of time, like you've heard a lot of things from Republican pundits,
Yeah.
for sure, about the cognitive ability of Biden. I'm glad that he proved, or at least tried to prove to the American public, hey, like I'm here.
Does that make you feel more confident in Biden as a potential commander in chief going forward?
I mean, in all honesty, I'm probably a vote blue no matter who type of guy.
Okay.
I don't encourage everyone to do that, but right now in this election cycle, I feel like we need to behave a certain way. But if I had any doubts before, they are definitely sated now.
And I see folks in the comments even saying Biden 4 more years. Wow. So what's wrong with Trump? What's wrong with Trump?
I'm a South Jersey native.
Okay.
So I am extremely familiar with Trump properties. I'm extremely familiar with the Trump casinos, bankrupting casinos, leaving thousands of people without jobs, people living in New York getting shafted by Trump from contractor work that needed to be done to his properties or building those properties. And I mean, I can't imagine in any good faith why any blue collar worker would look to Trump and say, yep, that's my guy.
You know, it's interesting you say that. I've been doing this, 3 years now or something like that. Anytime folks from New York call or Jersey, they have a similar story to yours, that Trump had a really bad reputation as an employer that was local to folks in that area. It wasn't national. He was beloved on a national scale, but in that area, among people who worked for him, he had a really bad reputation. I'm amazed at how often I hear that. I think I had somebody on last night that said the same thing, like they knew somebody that worked for him and the person lost their house because he didn't pay them and things like that. It's crazy that didn't come out when he was running for president.
I feel like it's something that it was coming out, but people were just turning a blind eye to it.
Wow.
Like, I mean, North Jersey is even more familiar with this man. There's a reason why New Jersey is a blue state and is probably never going to stop being a blue state. Like, even with Christie and voting him in.
Yeah.
It's just, if we had a Christie or Trump right now, oh my goodness, you better believe I'd be trying to push for Christie.
Yeah.
But right now, it's just a matter, I think he's just screwed over so many people that they were just tired of it. And it's when it happens in your own neighborhood, you're a lot more open to it. But like when you're just like, that's just people saying some stuff, like on the other side of the country.
Yeah, you got more direct experience to it than like folks like me who are in the Midwest. I had never heard the guy with. I mean, you know, you see him on The Apprentice. I mean, there's even rap stars and.
saw him on what's it called man. Oh, geez, Home Alone.
Yeah.
Like you saw bits and pieces of him.
Yeah.
He was just a man who was just trying to get his name out there, I suppose.
Yeah, everything about him was good that I can remember coming up. I mean, listen, we know he was a playboy and he cheated on his wife, and people kind of gave that a pass as well. But other than that, he was a movie star. He was a billionaire real estate mogul. It was all good. But in that region where you're at, apparently it was not.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them things where you don't, like, back in the day, I feel like there's a joke, I think it was Bill Burr or one of those comedians, and it's just like, remember, like, every news cycle, say, you were exposed to so much, like, terror in this world or something like that. And it's just a matter of, like, you're not exposed to things that Trump does because it doesn't affect you directly.
Right.
So it's not news that you hear. Nowadays, it's so easy to pick up a phone, find out news about everything that's ever happened in every single news cycle in every single country. Like, I mean, I just found out that the guy who wrote Dragon Ball Z, he just passed away, like, yesterday. And it's just like, how would I have gotten that information?
Yeah. I mean, you know, by way of the newspaper and things like that is much slower. But let me ask you this then. You know, there's nothing that could possibly change your mind to vote for Trump. Am I correct?
I believe it or not, even I was succumbed to the Trump propaganda in 2016.
You voted for him.
I did vote for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you think of it? What did you think of his term? Many folks favor his term. Cheap gas, you know,
Cheap gas was a lie. That everything about his election is based on a lie. Cheap gas can't be attributed to Trump. That was nobody driving, price of gas dropping because nobody was using it. Nobody was buying it. This caused gas companies to go out of business, refineries to go out of business, resulting in the increase of gas prices as soon as everything started coming out.
So let me ask it to you this way. Name something good Trump did when he was president.
Oh, good. Jeez. I'm sure I could find something that maybe he did that was beneficial to somebody, but it wasn't beneficial to, it wasn't beneficial to everybody. It wasn't beneficial to, it never was beneficial to the unfortunate.
Let me tell you the reason. Here's the reason why I asked you that. Because folks are suggesting that Biden should debate Trump. Do you think they should have a debate?
I think Biden should stay busy running the country and Trump should worry about his legal cases.
And the reason why I asked that is simply put, I think a lot of voters are like you, President, is that their minds are made up. And based on that belief, in my opinion, there's no need to debate. You're not going to change anybody's hearts and minds. People who are going to vote for Trump are going to vote for him no matter what comes out of the debate, and vice versa. So if you look at it that way, I don't see any reason for Biden to debate Trump. Biden is not going to win any voters over, and neither is Trump. Their base is already there.
Well, and you already had these debates between Hillary and Trump. What really did we learn about any of those debates other than Trump just behaving like a bully? Again, you might just wind up badgering an old man.
Well, he got your vote, though. He got your vote.
Yeah. And again, I attribute that to straight up propaganda.
All right.
I was convinced he was going to drain the swamp. The swamp is even larger today than it was back then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I remember back in the days when it was on Reddit. People who visited Reddit, they're probably familiar with this subreddit called The Donald. That was people who were just all about, we are behind this guy. And it was motivating. But then as soon as the blinders actually opened, it turned into what is Trump actually doing for us?
Okay, well, I do got to move it on, but that love still exists for the man. That love still exists.
I want to just say, if the economy was doing bad, Trump would not have people buying $400 sneakers, and he would not have hundreds of thousands of dollars donated to his legal fees.
That's well said. That's well said. I appreciate you coming through, and that's a really good point. That if the economy sucked that bad, where are you finding money to buy shoes and donate to his legal fees? That is well said. Looking in the comments there, and by the way, thank you, Joseph Kuhn, with the super chat. You know you don't want that senile sock puppet to debate. Talking about Biden. He can't use a teleprompter as a crutch. Cowards. Well, let's say what you're saying is accurate. Biden is a senile sock puppet and not capable of a decent debate. Whose hearts and minds are you going to change? The folks that support Trump are going to support Trump no matter how well Biden does at the debate. The folks that support Biden are going to support Biden no matter how awful he does at the debate. The folks that support Biden are not supporting Biden. They're anti-Trumpers. They're never Trumpers. They're not going to vote for Trump because he won a debate over Biden. That's not going to happen. At the end of the day, they are so much in terms of polar opposites at this point. You're not going to switch from one party to the other. You're just not. I mean, so in my humble opinion, and let's say what Joseph Kuhn said in the comments with the super chat is, let's say you're correct, that Biden is totally, crappy when it comes to a debate. It's not going to change anybody's hearts and minds. And I would ask you, Mr. Kuhn, if Biden got up there and whooped the floor with Trump's ass, would you switch? If Biden got up there and defeated Trump overwhelmingly, would you switch? Would you go from MAGA to Biden? Not likely. So I don't see the purpose at this point. If Biden screws up, you'll get something to laugh at. It'll be all over OAN, Newsmax, and Fox. If Biden gets up there and does well, like he did last night, then you attack him on his policies. He's for open borders. You know, he's taxing the rich. You'll go. You're either going to get him on he sucks cognitively, or his policies suck. I mentioned this before. Biden debating Trump kind of reminds me of Adrian in Rocky. Rocky, you can't win. You're not going to convince these folks that they should vote for you. Either your cognitive abilities suck or your policies suck. If you get up there and you orate perfectly, you sound like Obama, then they just move and say all of the policies suck. You're not going to get any accolades from MAGA no matter what you do. So, in fact, earlier in the program, I asked a caller, what could Biden say to get folks on the right to work with him? He suggested that Biden would have to pardon all of the folks that have been arrested on January 6th and actually apologize to them. That's what he got to do. That's how far it is. So, yeah, I don't see anything that would come out of Biden debating Trump. The world needs to see how ridiculous Democrats are when they vote for somebody who can't use his own words. What do you mean by that? Can't use your own words. What does it mean when you can't use your own words? Well, you said did you see the State of the Union address, Kuhn? Because he used his words quite well last night. You're the first person on the entire program today, been on almost 2 hours, to say that he did not use his words properly last night. You're literally the first person, and I've been looking for someone. They aren't his policies. He just signs whatever is put in front of him. He is an absolute nobody. That's an opinion. It may be true, but do you see people putting everything in front of Biden and him making no decisions on his own? And if that is the case, then why are you blaming him for all of it? Why blame him for his border policies or anything else he's doing if he ain't the one doing it according to you? Somebody else is doing it and he's just signing it. Some of that don't make sense. Some of that does not make sense. Over 100 MAGAs locked up, especially their leadership. Yeah, there was a guy I did a video on a couple days ago, this week, a Tennessee sheriff's deputy that was present on January 6th, still wearing his sheriff's deputy's bulletproof vest. It clearly says sheriff right on the shoulder blade. And he had on I think it was a patch that said either 3%er militia or something like that. But it's 3%er militia movement or something like that. He actually had on while he was there on January 6th, and he was actually sentenced to 6 years in prison because he attacked a Capitol police officer while wearing metal brass knuckles. That happened this week. He got 6 years in prison for that. I'd vote GOP if it was a candidate that wasn't a bully. It's how he treats people and how he ignited so much hatred. Presidents should be locked up too, says Sandy. Thank you for the super chat. And I said the same thing. The polls have agreed with you, Sandy, that Nikki Haley was really kicking Biden's ass in the polls. And I still believe that if Nikki Haley was the Republican nominee, she would be way more competitive against Biden than Trump is. I do believe that. I do believe what Sandy said would resonate. Because there's a lot of liberals that are not really happy with Biden. Independents certainly are not. But Trump is so polarizing that he draws hatred to himself. I do believe Nikki Haley would have been far more competitive. Fortunately for Biden, fortunately for those on the left, folks had tunnel vision on the right for Trump from day one. From day one, I think we all knew those 9 contenders, from Vivek to Chris Christie to Nikki Haley to the governor of South Dakota, Tim Scott. I think we all knew they had no chance of beating Trump. Hell, they knew they had no chance of beating Trump because they were having a debate and ignoring any conversation about Trump at all. They knew they had no chance of beating Trump. So fortunately for the liberals, the right was tunnel focused on Trump, and that's where we are. Trump versus Biden 2024. Love Tim Scott, says Casino Sister. I think what is helping Tim Scott, like it is Vivek like it is Ron DeSantis and the rest of them, he didn't really criticize Trump. If Tim Scott had said the same things about Trump that Nikki Haley or Chris Christie, you wouldn't be liking Tim Scott. You would. I mean, anybody that goes against Tim Scott anybody that goes against Trump rather is instantly an enemy of MAGA. Period. You're an enemy of MAGA. So Tim Scott knew his lane, knew to stay in his place. He really hasn't criticized Trump at all. I think I've heard Tim Scott criticize Trump one time. Several years ago, Trump tweeted out some old man in a golf cart at the Villages down there in Florida yelling out white power on a video. And it was the first words of the video, and it was already pretty damn loudly. Trump claimed he didn't hear it when he tweeted out the video, which led me to believe, then why the hell would you tweet it out? Why would you tweet out some random dude yelling white power? But he said he didn't hear it, and MAGA gave him a pass on it. Tim Scott asked him to take the video down. Tim Scott, that's the only time I've seen Tim Scott go against Trump on anything. Politely asked him to take the video down. He took it down. He didn't apologize. You know how that works, but he did state, I didn't hear the guy yelling white power. We did a show on that back when that happened and played the video. It's pretty loud. The guy yelled it out pretty damn loud. The idea that you would tweet that out and tell me you didn't hear that, then yeah. In fact, if you watch the video, other than the guy yelling white power, there's no reason to tweet it out. Then why did you tweet this out? You know, Trump is known to do things like that, but he did say he never heard it. He's crying over the Villages. Who's crying? Elite Gaming. Crying about what? I'm just telling you what happened. The subscription coming from Metabolic, I can't pronounce it, but I do want to thank you for that subscription. Folks, you know what we do here, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. We run an uncensored program. That is how we've always ran it. That's how we always will. It always will remain MAGA friendly in its entirety. From day one till eternity, the program will always be MAGA friendly. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. We believe everyone has a right to speak. No one's opinion reigns supreme over anyone else's, including yours truly. Nevertheless, it is time to do what we normally do around this time. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central. See you later. For my YouTube audience, thank you. Thank you for the super chats and the participation. Together we can take our country back. Take it back from who? Take our country back from who? Trump is a traitor and will ruin democracy in the USA. Trump followers are gullible. Yikes. Well, I think Trump, just like Biden last night with the cognitive decline issue, Trump needs to do more to help convince folks that he ain't trying to ruin democracy. Because that, just like with Biden being in cognitive decline, that rumor is hovering over Trump's head. And just like with Biden can't just go around and say they're wrong, I'm not in cognitive decline. Nobody's going to believe that. You got to convince them. I think the State of the Union address helped convince a lot of folks for Biden. Trump needs to do more to convince folks he's not a threat to democracy. Just saying I'm not is not going to work. Just like Biden before the State of the Union address, just simply saying I'm not in cognitive decline would not work. Trump needs to work on that. That whole I'm going to be a dictator for a day statement to Sean Hannity has not aged well with President Trump. Certainly following the events of September 11th, of January 6th. It just simply does not age well. He needs to do something about that. That doesn't look good. I mean, because folks are going to vote against him simply because of that. You're going to have folks suggesting, I like his policies, I like his direction for America, but I don't want a dictator. He needs to do more to convince folks that he's not a dictator. He's not trying to be a dictator. Just like Biden. Folks may say, I like the progressive point of view. I like a Democrat in office, but I don't want to vote for somebody who's senile. Well, last night, Biden kind of helped his case. Trump needs to do the same. Trump needs to do the same. Simply yelling out, I'm not a threat to democracy, is not going to work. People saw what happened and they derived an opinion from it. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Catch you guys later.